Stress is something that most of us experience in today's society. Some people use stress to propel them forward towards a successful goal. However, when stress is not used in this way, it can have detrimental effects on our health and well-being. This presentation provides a brief overview on stress inoculation, a stress management strategy that has been reported to be effective in helping people cope better with stress. So what is stress inoculation? How does it work? And how can we use it? Let's first have a look at what exactly is stress inoculation. Stress inoculation is a type of cognitive behavior therapy that is based on the concept of inoculation. Inoculation in the medical sense refers to the process of artificially inducing immunity to a particular pathogen by exposing the body to small amounts of that pathogen. In a similar way, stress inoculation can prepare us to be more resistant to stress through prior exposure to milder forms of stress. This theory has been well supported by both clinical and neuroscience research. Stress inoculation was first developed by Donald Meichenbaum in the 1970s under the name stress inoculation training. Stress inoculation training is a generic stress management approach that focuses on the transactional model of stress and coping. According to this model, we experience stress when we evaluate the relationship we have with our environment as being overly demanding, beyond our ability to cope with, and as posing a threat to our health and well-being. Stress inoculation also embraces a constructive narrative perspective. According to this perspective, people construct stories about themselves, and these stories affect a person's ability to cope with stress. For example, constructing a story of being a victim, opposed to constructing a story of being an overcomer. Stress inoculation training uses the constructive narrative perspective to help people construct life narratives that will help them to cope better with stress. How does it work? The goal of stress inoculation training is to teach people a broad range of coping skills that could be applied in any stressful situation. Stress inoculation training typically comprises of 3 overlapping phases. The first phase is a conceptual educational phase. In this phase, the client learns all about the nature and impact of stress. The client is also made aware of their ability to solve problems and are encouraged to think adaptively. The second phase is skills acquisition and consolidation. In this phase, a broad range of new skills are learnt and practiced, and existing skills are consolidated. The third and final phase is application and follow-through. In this phase, clients are provided with the opportunity to apply their new skills while gradually being exposed to increasing levels of stress. And this is where the inoculation process comes into play. How can we use stress inoculation training? The flexible and generic nature of stress inoculation training allows it to be applied to virtually any stressful situation. It can be used with individuals as well as couples and small to moderate sized groups. Stress inoculation training can further be used on both a preventative and treatment basis. For example, on a preventative basis, it can be applied to work and occupational stress, academic stress, stressful medical procedures, and social or environmental stress. On a treatment basis, it can be used with medical patients, psychological patients, people with fears and phobias, or professional groups. However, for various reasons, people oftentimes do not end up seeking professional guidance in dealing with their stress. Self-help strategies can offer a low-cost, stigma-reducing alternative for preventing and/or reducing stress. More information on self-help procedures, as well as a more detailed discussion on stress inoculation, can be found on Wikiversity in the book chapter Stress Inoculation. What is it? How does it work? And how can we use it? This book chapter can be found at the following link. Thank you for listening to this presentation. I hope this discussion has given you some new insights on how to better cope with stress.